So as you saw in the previous movies, as long as you have the necessary information, connecting to your website in Contribute is pretty easy when you use the connection wizard on Windows or the connection assistant on a Mac. In this movie, I want to show you where Contribute stores this information, because there will most likely be times when you'll need to edit this information. For example, if you change your website hosting company, your server information will change. Or if you've been assigned a new username or password, you'll need to change that information in Contribute in order to be able to connect to your site again. We make these changes by using the My Connections window, which you can get to on a Mac by choosing Contribute My Connections, or if you're on Windows, you'll go to the Edit menu to find My Connections. And that opens up the My Connections window. Now, I should mention here that you can only edit connection information for connections you made yourself on your own copy of Contribute. If you were sent a site connection key by your site administrator, the site settings are going to be locked and you're going to have to request a new key from the administrator. But more on that in just a moment. So here in the My Connections window, you can see all the connections I've made in this copy of Contribute. Now these icons with the lines through them indicate that I'm not currently connected to these sites, but those lines go away as soon as you connect to that site. So if I select tCloud, for instance, I can come up here and choose to enable that connection. And you can see that line goes away. And if I look on the start page here, you can see where it said not connected there. If I close this for a moment, you can see that I'm now connected. Let's go back there. Now, connections are automatically disabled if Contribute can't connect to them for some reason. And as you just saw, I can click this Enabled button to reconnect to that site. Now, you can also manually disable a site connection if you don't need to work on it. So if I come in here now, notice that this is now the Disable button, and I can just choose to disable that. One of the benefits of disabling a site connection is that Contribute starts up a little faster when you first start the program, especially if you have connections to lots of websites. When you first start up Contribute, it automatically connects to each enabled website to make sure that its copies of the site pages are up to date with the ones on the live site. So if someone else working on the site has made changes that you need to review, those changes will show up. If you don't need Contribute to make these checks on a site, just disable that site connection until you need to work on it. Next, I have the .Mac connection that I made in the previous movie. And underneath that, I have a connection to my band's website, thejellybricks.com. And this little icon next to that connection tells me that I connected to this site with a site connection key sent to me by the site administrator for this particular website. Now notice over here that my role has been set as publisher. Now we'll see how that affects my ability to edit settings in just a moment, but first let's edit one of the sites I set up myself. I'll select the tCloud site and choose to edit it. And you can see that all it does is run me through the connection assistant again. So any changes to the information that I need to make, I can simply make by just going through the assistant again. If the website's the same, I can click Continue. If my FTP information is the same, I can click Continue, or if it's changed, I can change it to the correct information. And if I want to change my name or my email address, I can do so here as well. And once I'm done, I'll see the summary just like I did before. I'll click Finish, and then my changes will be updated. Now, if I want to change, say, my .Mac information, again, I just select it, click Edit, and I get the same assistant, but the only thing I can really change here is the URL for my website, and the only thing I can really change is if my actual account information has changed. So if I'm using a different .Mac account now, I can just change that information in here, click Continue, Contribute will check out that connection, and if everything looks good, I'll get the summary here, and that's all there is to that. Now, as far as editing the connection to a site for which I received a site connection key, notice that the only changes I can make here are to my name and to my email address that other contributors can use to contact me. Notice there's no Next button here. All I can do is click on OK. I can't change any of the information used to actually connect to the site. So if that information is changed, I need to request a new updated site connection key from my site administrator. Okay, so that's a little bit about how the My Connections window works. We'll learn more about this in the chapter on administering your site, because this is also where you come to create connection keys and to define user roles. But first things first. In the next chapter, we'll be looking at how to actually start building and editing web pages in Contribute.